Hi everyone, I hope you're enjoying your groups. As we saw last week in the Gospel of Matthew, we looked at two scenes in chapters 3 and 4 in the life of Jesus as he's preparing for his role among God's people, as he's preparing for his role to rescue those he loves, his role for rescuing you and me, and for bringing his kingdom to a people who were without a kingdom. And so in chapter 3, we saw Jesus go down to the Jordan River and to be baptized by John the Baptist. And a lot of things happened there, but the primary thing that we saw is that Jesus was identifying with the people that he was going to save. He was identifying with them so that when he went out into the wilderness, as he does in chapter 4, that he would not only identify with them in their needing to be cleansed from sin, but also in their need to obey God. You see, the desert was a spot where Israel had often been tested. It was a place of testing and struggle and a place of failure for Israel, where they failed to obey God. And so Jesus went as God's chosen Messiah, his representative of God's people, of you and me, to obey God on our behalf. And so out of that, we really began to ask questions and questions of our own lives of who are we really following? Whose kingdom are we seeking? Are we seeking to build our own kingdom through our work, through our family? Or are we seeking to do the will of God in our lives? So as you go into your groups, discuss that. Discuss how that's playing out in your life. How do you find yourself seeking God's kingdom? And how do you find yourself seeking things other than God's kingdom in your life? And then we'll jump back and talk about what we're going to talk about next week. So enjoy your time. Well, I hope you enjoyed your time discussing the questions in your group. And now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the coming week. And what we're going to look at in the sermon this Sunday is actually Jesus calling his disciples. So one thing that might surprise you about the disciples that Jesus called is they weren't the sort of people that you would expect a returning king who was going to set up his kingdom to choose as the people who would follow him, who would be the people who would represent him. But that's the interesting thing about Jesus. He does a lot of unexpected things. And the people that Jesus chose in the passages that you're going to read in your group, the people that Jesus chose were kind of rough around the edges. Some of them were kind of a mess, and there was a lot of brokenness in their lives. So what I want you to do as you read about these first followers of Jesus is I want you to ask the question, what does this passage say? What does it say about Jesus? And what does it say about the people who follow him? What does it say about you and me as followers of Jesus 2,000 years later? Then also ask the question, what do you see? What do you see about these people? What was their career? Were they well known? And was that being well known something that was actually really good? You'll find that in doing so, you'll find a lot of identification with these people. So I hope that you'll enjoy your time studying ahead and preparing for what we'll hear on Sunday about who Jesus called and how that changes the way that we follow him today.